Hello everybody and welcome back to Stretchies and Stuff. My name is Jane and today I have got a really nice, gentle, restorative meets yin yoga class for you. So the theme of this class is giving yourself and your body the time and attention and love that it deserves. So I encourage you to set your room up or wherever you're practicing in a really nice and cozy way, whether that means turning on the heat, lighting a candle, or getting some nice music on. I've linked a playlist just below. Just a random playlist I found on Spotify, but it's what I've been using lately for my yin yoga. For this class, I am using a block or two and a bolster. If you do not have a block and a bolster, that is okay. You can use some nice heavy pillows. I'm also using a little blanket folded up, which would be useful as well for you. And if you don't have blocks, you can use a big book, like a water bottle. It's just kind of to have, to create more space between the ground and your hand or your head. But I do recommend, I mean, there are places that you can get blocks and bolsters, and they have been my best friends, some of my best friends in lockdown. Make this your little spa date with yourself. Enjoy. Okay everyone, let's find a nice, comfortable seated position. Whatever works for your body. We're going to start with some breath work. So if sitting cross-legged for a few minutes doesn't work for you, please sit up against a wall or sit with your legs stretched out, or you can even lie down onto your back for this centering part of the practice. So once you've found your comfortable position, just close the eyes if that's comfortable. If you'd rather, you can keep a soft gaze just at the ground in front of you. And just bring your awareness to any fluttering thoughts, your energy as we come into this relaxing yoga practice. And without judging, just take a step back and watch those thoughts and that energy swirling around, and just allow it to settle like dust or leaves falling off of a tree. So inviting this visualization of your thoughts and whatever you've brought with you today as really light and soft, and slowly just floating down to the ground to rest for a little while you take the focus into your body and into this yoga practice. And if it's comfortable for you, take one hand to your chest and one hand to your belly. And without changing anything and without creating any stories around this, just start to notice how your breath feels on your hands and how your body feels on your hands. Try to really soften the belly and honor the belly. We often spend time and energy tensing it and using the abdominal muscles, so just give it a break and send it some love and gratitude. And we're going to start just counting the breath. So take a few inhales and exhales normally in your own natural rhythm. And then let's all exhale together. And inhale for the count of 4. and exhale for the count of 4. And keep doing this on your own, in your own head, counting your inhales, and if 5 or 6 feels like a better number for you, just allow nice, long, steady breaths to be equal in length. And if the mind starts to wander, just come back to that visualization of any thoughts slowly floating down to the earth, and keep the focus on the breath. Two more rounds of equal breathing. And then for a few rounds of breath, we're going to keep the inhales the same, but lengthen the exhales by 1 to 2 counts. So if you were inhaling and exhaling for 4, inhale for 4 and exhale for 5 or 6. Lengthening the exhale signals the body to enter the parasympathetic nervous system, to rest and digest, to soften. So with your lengthening exhales, keep doing this and just send some intention for the body to let go and to trust for this next little while that it's safe and that it has the ability to let go. Finish your final round of this breathing exercise. And then just bring your hands down onto your knees. Flicker the eyes open, softly just gaze down if you have the eyes closed. It's my preference to come off of my bolster for seated stretches and forward folds, but if it feels better for you to stay up on the bolster, then please do. And like I said, you can stay with your legs stretched out if that feels better for you. So let's just inhale and reach the arms up overhead. And exhale to circle the arms back behind you and interlace the hands. Stretch the arms back behind you and just open up the chest. And then exhale, bring both fists over to your right hip. And then just bring the right ear over to the right shoulder. And get a nice stretch in the left side of the neck. Nice deep long inhales into the left side of the neck, and maybe start to nod your head forward and backwards. And one last breath here. And bring the head down to center, unwind the hands and just stretch both hands back behind you in a fist. And then bring both hands over to your left hip and just come right onto the other side. So warming up, stretching through the neck. Bringing the left ear to the left shoulder and stretching out the right side of the neck. Either stay in stillness or just nod your chin forwards and backwards. And then remove the hands from the left hip. Stretch both hands back behind you. Undo the interlace and just plant the hands on the ground and open up the chest. Breathe into the rib cage. Breathe into the sternum bone. One more deep chest breath. And come back up to seated. Grab one or two of your blocks and we're going to fold forward here. So just bring your hands either down onto the mat in front of you or onto the blocks if the mat feels far away from you. And just start to walk yourself forward, trying to keep a flat back as you hinge forward. Maybe coming down onto the forearms and maybe placing a block underneath your head. And finding a nice comfortable forward fold here. And again, if it feels better for you, you can place a small pillow or that blanket, maybe something a bit smaller than your bolster underneath your hips as you fold yourself forward. And notice which leg is in front and just breathe into that hip. And also notice if you start to melt a little bit here and you start to feel like you can go a little bit lower, a little bit longer. Keeping that hinge from the hips. And keeping softness and length in the back of the neck. Stay here for a few more breaths and just notice how it feels to really surrender here and to give yourself the attention that you deserve. Slowing down, looking inwards. And keep your eyes closed as you walk your hands back. And then walk your hands right behind you like we did before, placing the palms on the ground. Open the chest, stretch out through the shoulders. And then this time rock back onto your hips, stretch your legs out and just give your legs a little bit of a shake in between sides. And then remember which leg was in front the last time. It's probably the leg that you like to put in front usually, and put the other leg in front. We're just going to come into a forward fold once again on the other side. So as you come down, notice that the other side is going to be completely different. So take your time as you come down, and you might end up in a different variation than you did last time. Maybe the block is on a higher height. Maybe you feel like you need more support underneath your hips. Just explore for the first few breaths, finding a pose that you would like to stay in stillness in. And then once you've found that place, just release here for several breaths. Imagine you can fill your lower back
and your outer hips with your breath. And try to maintain a sense of grounding of the hips into the ground as you gently press the hands into the floor. Take a couple more breaths here. Letting the dust settle where the leaves fall. And then again, if closing your eyes still feels good, walk your hands back. And then all the way back behind you, open the spine, open the chest, the shoulders, stretch up. And come back to center. And just take a moment here. You can undo the legs if that's enough cross-legged sitting for you today. And then just pop yourself off of whatever you're sitting up on. And then take your bolster or your pillows, if that's what you're using, and just bring them so that it is at the very front of your mat, or maybe even coming off of the mat. And then place another one up on top for your head. We'll decide if we need that later. We're coming into a nice pigeon pose here. So we're going to support the upper body with the bolsters. And then you decide if you would like to have a block underneath your hip. You can just have a block off to the side. So bring your hands on either side of this bolster or these pillows and lift your hips up. And let's find a nice downward facing dog. Stretch it out before we come into another really nice, still and long restorative pose. So take this time to stretch out the backs of your legs and breathe into the spine, lengthening. And then inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, bring it through and bring your right knee towards your right elbow, but behind the bolster. So as you can see, I'm just set up right behind the bolster. And then take your block, if you are using a block, underneath your right bum cheek. And then before you come down, just plant your hands on the ground and take a few breaths into the spine. And feel that right hip sinking down into the block, and have a look behind you and maybe straighten out that left leg a little bit. You can even lift the left knee off the ground and then place it back down so that it's stretched out really nice and far. And then with a flat back again, start to walk yourself forward. I like to bring my left ear onto the pillow and find a place that is really comfortable here. So if you need more support under your upper body, you can add more pillows. If you feel any discomfort in the knee, adjust so that your knee feels nice and stable, and try to flex your right toes back towards the knee to strengthen the shin and the calf and the knee. And if this really isn't feeling quite right for you, you can lie down on your back in a figure 4 position. Wherever you are, wherever you're going, let's melt into some moments of stillness and silence here.
And this can be the type of pose that brings up thoughts and emotions. And again, just imagine taking a step back from them and just observing them. Maybe it's like a big gust of wind came and blew away your pile of leaves that had just fallen softly from the tree. And that's beautiful too, so just step back and have a look without any judgment. And either stay here in stillness or plant your hands and lift your chest up once again. And we might come into a twist if that feels good for you. So if you're coming with me, just plant your right hand down on the ground and inhale, reach your left arm up. And exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right arm and gently press into the ground with the right hand. And try to keep the hips square-ish, squaring. And if you want to go farther, you can reach your right arm up overhead, or you can even reach back behind you and maybe you grab your right heel. So it's a bit more active. You can very well just still be in the first variation or thread the needle on your back. And a nice thing to do also, if you're down here, you can use your left hand just to gently encourage your right shoulder back, giving yourself a little assist. And check in with the face and the jaw and the brow here. We don't need them right now to help us twist and stretch. And one more deep breath here. And unwind. Plant the right hand down if you were in the twist. Lift yourself up and then take your time. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your hips and just step your right leg back. Come into that downward facing dog. Stretch the hips up. Bend the knees a lot so that you can really push your tailbone up towards the sky. And relax the head, relax the neck. And then just lower both knees down onto the ground. And take your block and bring it off to the other side. We're going to come right onto the other side. So plant your hands down, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog, or you can do this from hands and knees. You can just reach the left leg back and then bring it through, place it down on the ground, and really walk your right leg back a lot. And maybe you don't feel like you need the block underneath your back hip, and that's totally fine. But again, like we did on the other side, let's start in a bit of an upright position. Have a look back. Maybe lift that back knee and place it back down. And just breathe into a long, tall spine. And then slowly start to walk yourself forward. You can always have another block here, as much height as you need. And then I'm going to bring my right ear onto the pillow and just look over the left shoulder. And again, any knee pain, just come onto your back. Thread the needle and make sure to keep those left toes flexed. And feel the support of the bolster and the pillow. So nice to give yourself that support. So using props is such a great way to allow the body to soften into stretches and to make yourself feel safe and able to open. Just like in life, sometimes it's really nice to have a little bit of extra support. So making the effort to ask for a little bit of help or to take some time for yourself. And if you enjoyed it on the other side, just plant your hands down and peel yourself up for a moment. Bring your weight into your left hand and reach your right arm up. And exhale, weave it through, come into a twist. So you choose the arm variation, maybe reaching up overhead with the left arm, or maybe reaching back for that heel, using the right hand to gently assist the left shoulder back. And imagine just twisting from the hips and trying to, imagine just twisting from the spine and trying to keep the hips nice and level with their support. And if you can't reach the heel, that's totally fine. You can just reach for your shirt, or you can just let the hand rest on your back. Two more deep inhales and maybe extra long exhales. And then peel yourself up. This time just lift the hips, remove any props, and then have a seat down onto your bum. Bring your legs around in front of you. And just keep the bolster the way that it is. And then take your two blocks with you. We're gonna come into lying back onto the bolster. So just scooch yourself so that you have your sacrum, your lower back right up against your bolster. And then I'm going to do Supta Baddha Konasana. So reclined butterfly in the legs. So your feet are together, your knees are out wide, and your two blocks are anywhere along the upper leg that feels supportive. You can bring your hood up if you're wearing a cozy hoodie like me. And make yourself really nice and comfortable here.
So either just have your hands out by your sides or your arms in a kind of a neutral position, or you can bring your elbows to bend and find a nice cactus shape, opening up the chest a little bit more. Wherever you are, make sure it is super comfortable. If you want more in the chest, you can reach your arms up a little bit higher. And as you allow yourself to melt into this posture, just come back to that breathing exercise that we did at the beginning of the class again. With every exhale, a little bit longer than the inhale. And just feel yourself melting on the exhales. You can feel yourself melting into your support, surrendering into the bolsters, the pillows, and just trusting that they will help you open up a little bit more and create positive change in the body. And as you're lying here with your soft breath and your long exhales, just bring awareness to the whole feeling of your body. Feeling everything that's touching the ground. And every surface that's touching your skin, your clothes, and even feel the quality of the air on the skin that's exposed. And either stay here for final resting pose, Shavasana, or if you've had enough, you can come into a Shavasana with your bolster behind your knees, or you can find a bit of wall space, or just a chair or something, and you can bring your legs up the wall. So whatever feels good for you. I'm going to use the bed for legs up the bed. So take a couple of moments here to find your final resting pose. Any option is great. And just make sure you can relax completely wherever you've landed. And I invite you to stay here for the rest of the day. if you are going to do so, I would suggest you just pause the video and enjoy the silence or the music. If for some reason you would like to continue on with your day, you can slowly start to move out of whatever final resting pose that you've chosen. And just roll over onto one side. And then gently press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And just take a moment to come back to how you feel now after this relaxing, rejuvenating, self-loving practice. And if you don't feel any different, that is completely fine too. But just honor the fact that you've taken this time to love yourself and to take care of your mind and your body. Namaste. All right, I hope everybody is feeling nice and relaxed and in love with themselves. Drink lots of water. Try to keep yourself relaxed throughout the rest of the day or the evening. Repeat this class as many times as you want to. Now you know what's coming, so you can have your props all ready, and it's a great practice to do before bed or after a workout. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe and do notifications and all that other stuff.